All right, so we're up here today. We're gonna pull back the curtain on what the fuck is going on in the collective consciousness. Let's get a fucking sneak peek as to what's going on out there. What's going on in people's psyches, what's going on in people's personal lives. Let's fucking just jump in. You can be as fucking explicit as you want. Obviously, there will be fucking draconian moderation as always. So put your best foot forward. I'm gonna do my best to actually just pull up verified accounts first, see if that'll work as some quality control, and then I can work my way down from there. Yo,
Bro, how are you doing today?
kick it off, man. I was gonna light the wick to start it, but I'll let you fucking light the TNT. Let's go.
Yeah, it's crazy that you talked about collective consciousness because that was exactly what I was thinking about. But my question to you would be that I recently realized the sheer power in learning how to weightlift. What was your experience like when you first started off and realized the explosiveness and how it translated over to other, areas of your life?
Yeah, man. I mean, intuitively, I was always just drawn to strength sports. I mean, I always had some kind of freakish spider monkey strength to begin with. So it was always kind of in my wheelhouse. I really, I always had gorilla grip. Like my grip strength was always naturally pretty fucking insane. I was always pretty sinewy, and I kind of knew how to throw how to use my weight. And so, yeah, man, when I stepped in the gym, the eccentric stuff was fascinating to me because it just made a lot of sense. It just made a lot of sense to wipe out the eccentric and just focus on the concentric aspects of the lift. But yeah, man, that explosive power. I mean, it was complete accident, but I do think that I adorned myself in sort of that athlete archetype from an early age. And
Hmm.
your people are tripping if they don't think there's power in that
Yeah,
in itself. Because I mean, I've said this before. You want to talk about we talk about how opportunities kind of are in a whirlpool and they kind of eddy in these very small circles of elite people. Well, one of the only broke archetypes that's widely accepted among elite circles is athletes.
true, true.
And so that just kind of was a natural thing for me. I would get invited everywhere. I mean, I looked like a freak, to be quite honest with you, in my 20s. I put in two a days, man. I had so much fucking frenetic energy.
Hmm.
I didn't really have a mission. I didn't have much to do. And so to exert myself and to exhaust myself so I didn't fucking implode, I would just go to the gym twice a day and I was a fucking fanatic, man. I mean, I was in there constantly, vicious mentality when I was in the gym.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and I think
weightlifting's I think the most underrated sport in the world, man, because
true.
it's the truest expression of athleticism. You can't fucking clean and jerk heavy weight, and you definitely cannot snatch unless you're a fucking athlete. It's just that simple because speed solves all problems in weightlifting,
Hmm.
and it just so happens to be that's true for life as well. But yeah, man, speed in the weight room. If you don't lift fast, that weight's gonna go nowhere. And as we know from every fucking sport, the fastest athlete is always the best athlete.
Yeah, yeah. And I was thinking that you need to play hard in order to work hard. So when you're obsessed with weightlifting, what happens is you start you when you have fun weightlifting first thing in the morning, you hit the gym and you weightlift and you're full of vitality, then you can go out and just expend. When you're obsessed, that transfers over to other areas of your life, your posture. One thing that I've realized is that in weightlifting you have to put your pressure on the midfoot, so lower and lower back foot, and that has been so powerful because it triggers your mind, and you think robust thoughts when you are in that posture, when your traps, when your shoulders are back. So I wanna know, like, what have you? seen any like of course you did like benefits outside the gym, but I guess yeah, that was my question.
I've always said that, man. I've always said there's a hidden concept here that posture 100% has cognitive associations to it. And a lot of people don't understand this, but what I'm saying is when you have kinked up tissue and junked up tissue in your body,
Hmm.
100% that locks certain parts of your brain that are able to think properly. And when you're supple and your mobility is flawless, as mine has been for fucking a very long time, because mobility was one of the first things that I worked on, opening my pelvic joints, making sure that my shoulder extension, shoulder flexion was flawless. I put a ton of work into just those patterns before I ever fucking started lifting heavy. And yeah, bro, of course, from standing up fucking straight and just having
True.
your rhomboids and your fucking scapula all set correctly, your pelvic
Yeah,
floor
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
a neutral position, it 100% unlocks parts of the brain. I mean, movement and thinking are not unconnected elements. They are 100% connected. And so, whenever I see these motherfuckers that have kyphosis or even lordosis in their lower spine, or motherfuckers that are walking around hunched with horrible fucking posture, people that can't even reach their shoulders over their head. I understand that there's like a mental crippling that's associated with that.
Yeah, and when you're in a correct posture, you take way more space than you usually do. Like people turn their heads when you're walking with your shoulders rolled back, and you're putting the right pressure on your foot. You take way more space.
100%, man. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I've been relatively injury free. I mean, weightlifting historically is actually one of the safest sports, just because when you're throwing that kind of weight over your fucking head, you don't have time to doubt yourself, and you don't have time to worry about anything. You know what I'm saying? You got to whip that weight very, very hard. Very similar to as if you were trying to pry open the jaws of an alligator. That's how hard you have to pull on the bar to get some of these weights over your head. And so, you only have a fraction of a second. And there's a lot of life lesson in that. I mean, when you only have a fraction of a second to execute, your body tends to give itself to you. You know what I'm saying? It tends to be a very strong, well-connected chain, and there's no leaks in there. But when you're doing slow movements, that's when everybody gets hurt.
Hmm.
That's when
Yeah,
life will
true,
that's what
true.
life will hurt you in
Thanks,
general. I
thanks for
mean,
the talk, man. I appreciate it.
yep. Let's get Magnus. What's up, buddy? Magnus, I can't hear a word. I'm gonna put you in the back pocket for now, but
Hey,
yo,
what's
what's
up?
up,
Can you
man?
hear me?
Yup.
All right, awesome. I'm very glad that I got brought up. So, pretty much, my question is really just about the hero's journey and everything. So, pretty much, I just graduated from college and I was playing D1 football, but that wasn't really fulfilling me. So, now I'm about to go to Europe. And I know you've touched before on like staying in your hometown and establishing home turf, but what's your take on traveling and just going that route?
Yeah, I know a bunch of guys doing it right now. I mean, I get DM updates from dudes that are traveling all over the world and shit, kind of hoofing it, roughing it, not much money, trying to make things click. I mean, I'm a fan for sure. It's like I said the other day. I think I had a tweet. I said, in order to become, you got to kind of become a nobody to become a somebody. Your hometown, you can consider that a failed
I
start.
think your mic cut off, Brute.
Can you hear me?
Nah,
Can you
I
hear
can
him?
hear you. Yeah.
Okay, Brute, your mic cut off.
My golden?
Nah, that you're good.
Yeah, man. So what I was
Can
saying
you
is,
can you hear Brute?
brother, do not interrupt this show, or I will clap you. What I was saying, man, is your hometown is a failed start in many, many ways. And so, in order to kind of develop a lot of the character traits and character patterns, you got to become a nobody and start from nothing and work your way back up. And along the way, you know what I'm saying. You kind of
Hmm.
in the gust of wind that you leave behind, you're gonna pick up a lot of people on your crusade. And it's a natural kind of thing, man. People are just gonna come on the back of the caboose and ride the train. Some people are going to get off at certain stops, but by the end of it, you're going to know who's rocking with you, from day one. And I think that's kind of the goal. It's like I never had to force friendships. I never had to force anything in my life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever came on the voyage from day one, whoever's left at the end, last man standing. I mean, those are the guys that I'll fucking shed blood for.
Yeah, that's a great point. And like kind of touching back on what you were talking about earlier with the athlete archetype, I found that just like walking around regularly in my life, like constantly getting looked at, constantly people just like asking you like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? So like that athlete archetype definitely goes a long way. And also,
It's insane, man. Everywhere I fucking go, happens to me probably 10 times a week. Someone will come up to me and ask me if I'm a fucking professional soccer player or an MMA fighter or
yeah,
something in
yeah.
that fucking vein, man. I'm just like, it's happened so fucking frequently. It's unbelievable.
Exactly. And then if I may, one more question is also because eventually I'm about to go on like my hero's journey and travel everywhere, but I do want to come back home in like 6 months or so, like whenever the time is right. And I was actually I live in Arizona, so I was about to go to Scottsdale, and like I just want to know how do you go about locking down a place and like getting that city on lock so that you actually have like pedigree and whatnot? Because I know you've
This is
talked
a great
about like
question.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a common question. So, and this is kind of a natural thing for me. This is how I've always done it, and this was an intuitive thing. And as I saw how effective it was, I sort of was able to kind of articulate it. What happened for me is anywhere I would go, I would always have an unusual request, like very unusual, very very off ticket, something that ordinary people wouldn't come in and ask. Like I'll ask for special treatment, special ways of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I noticed is that people that are lethargic in those settings, because in a typical fucking restaurant, man, there's not much commotion. You pretty much can predict how it's going to be. There's going to be a couple unruly customers here and there. There's going to
Mm-hmm.
be some fucking fits. There's going to be some regulars, etc. But when I go somewhere, I always have special fucking requests, special types of orders and shit. And people love, love, love to do fucking favors, man. It's not human nature to say no, and a lot of people are afraid to ask. So like, I just always ask for special accommodations, and I don't do it in a prick way. But
Mm-hmm.
I also compensate for that. So it didn't matter how broke I was or how struggling. I was always a good fucking tipper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's important to understand there's two variants of this. There's rich motherfuckers who tip in a needy way that come off like fucking dorks because they're tipping because they clearly want something in return. I was literally handing out $100 bills like they were breath mints in my fucking 20s. Like someone asked me for a fucking Mentos. I would just hand them $100 bill, and then boom, there's your fucking army. Dude, I've always said this. Someone asked me years ago in an AMA, they said, "How do you get out of the rat race?" And I
Mm-hmm.
said, "You treat the people underneath you like royalty, and you treat the people above you like dirt." And what I
Interesting.
meant by that was all these servicemen, the valet guys, the bus boys, the fucking chefs and shit, the people the service workers, brother, if you show them any kind of love in any kind of genuine way, these motherfuckers will do anything for you. Anything for you. I mean, that's how I navigated COVID. Like COVID never shut down for me, and I was in LA. I was in the hardest hit metropolis in arguably the world with the COVID lockdowns. But I just knew every
Mm-hmm.
butcher. I knew every fucking chef at all the hot spots. Brother, they were sneaking me into the back door every night and cooking me fucking ribeyes and steaks and doing whatever the fuck I wanted every day of the week because of the way I took care of them. And it's a
Gosh, and you would
and
still,
it's a tiny
and if I'm,
you're talking about a tiny investment for that kind of army, bro. Like, I'm probably tipping those guys total probably 12, $15,000 a year. But now you
mm-hmm.
basically got a private militia behind you. I'm talking like I could get a valet guy's number, and if I need that motherfucker to fly to Panama to get me a fucking LLC corporation, he'll do it. That type of shit. So I'm
Jeez.
taking shit outside the workforce. Like I'm fucking creating jobs. I'm creating little fucking odd deals here and there. I'm getting people active outside of the fucking workplace.
Got you. Okay. So you pretty much just got to bring adventure into their lives, is what it sounds like.
100%. I mean, they see you're a strapping young guy. You got a lot of fucking energy, and they want to be a part of it. And also, those people are just invisible, man. Who the fuck's out here giving love to busboys and fucking calling the chef out and shaking his hand and telling him he did a great job? Who's doing that type of shit? Nobody. Because everyone thinks you get the instant status from knowing the owner. It's the opposite, my friend. You get all the status from walking into a place. You just had fucking 10 bus boys, 3 hosts, fucking assistant managers greeting you before you even walked up to the fucking podium. What kind of
Mm,
ambiance do you think that creates to the people around you?
100%.
Who is this
Damn.
motherfucker? That's what everyone's thinking.
Hmm.
So yeah, man, I've
Got
always
you.
I've
And then,
always treated people that were in a class lower than me like fucking gods, man. That's something that I learned from a very early age. Anyone who's in a service position or is doing a service for me, man, I elevate them and I treat them like fucking kings. I have always had that policy, and that shit has fucking returned dividends.
huh. Nah, that makes a lot of sense. That does make a
People
lot of
have it
sense.
twisted, my brother, and it's a shame. You know, they shit on these people and they give them a hard time and they fucking give them attitude. Huge, huge
Hmm.
fucking mistake.
Yeah, actually, that's something I noticed. Some of my parents would do that, and then it's like now you just got to gatekeep it. That's never gonna
Yeah,
let
now
you
you're
in.
toast, man. You do that one time, you're persona non grata. Like, good luck going back there. They're gonna be fucking hawking loogies and your fucking burgers and shit.
For real. And then I guess yeah, last question is so like when you were first coming up, like how would you treat dating? Cause like did you consider like women to be like slowing you down, or was it just like it was all in a good
Nah,
flow?
so
It
I
was all
was
good.
so my style. I'm a gamer, man. I love the game. So what I understood early on, and this was intuitive to me too, is I always used beautiful women as more chess pieces in the sense that I would never be caught dead in public after a certain age. At some point in my 20s, I got it in my head. I'm like, look, as a man, you don't ever want to be caught dead to rights in public with an ugly chick. That's just a huge fucking mistake. Don't you dare. Like, you can smash mids behind closed doors. That's not a problem. No one gives a fuck about that. And every fucking man likes mids at some point, right?
I ain't denying or accepting
That's what
this
I'm
as
that's what
truth.
I'm saying. So like every man will take a fucking mid sometimes behind closed doors and have a good fucking time. It's just no one has to fucking know about it. So my point is, if you're gonna be in public and you understand as a man that your presentation is the most important fucking thing you have, you better have the baddest chicks draped over you. You know,
Mm.
you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And what I'm saying is, so I would use the pretty women as my moneymaker because they were like a black hole. The gravitational pull of that would bring in people talking to me, random fucking conversations, who is this motherfucker, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you can fucking do commerce and conduct business from that.
Yeah, 100%. Because I've noticed when I'm out with my girl, it's like it seems like there's just way more like energy, way more eyes like being put on us, and it's literally just because we're walking around together, and we're like two just young, energetic people.
That's it, man. I mean, I'll tell you this, there's no deal flow, there's no opportunities, there's no serendipity that's popping up to motherfuckers who have no problem bringing a 200-pound chick out to the fucking pool, man. Everyone's wincing at you, everyone's turning a blind. No one wants anything to do with what you got going on in life. Like, if you're into that shit, no problem. Just keep it fucking private and do what you got to do behind closed doors, baby. But like, you got to understand that your presentation as a man is fucking everything. Like, you should always, always be seen with beautiful women in public.
That makes sense because I think it was like you said in the earlier spaces, you said that like your woman is like the pet monkey, like the reflection of you. So if she's not up to par, it's like you're dead.
Like, I would travel around with them, take them on jets. They go to business meetings with you. They're your fucking representative. I had no problem with that. Like, if I'm doing a business lunch, you're right. You're goddamn right. You're rocking with me. You're pulling up with me. We're all going. You know what I'm
Interesting.
saying? And so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just fucking, bro. That's just instant microwavable fucking credibility off the bat right there. There just ain't no
Bet.
two ways about it.
Well, and then I'm gonna just ask. Can I ask one more question, or do I got
Nah,
to
nah,
keep it
go ahead,
pushing?
man. It's a good flow.
Okay, so this is the last question. Then it's like this one. Actually, this is the most important one for me. Really, is like when it came to creating your own philosophy. Like, how did you go about doing that? Because right now, I mean, like I watch videos, I'll scroll Twitter, but I know like deep down, like I need to start listening to myself because we all have the answers that we need inside us. So, how did you just go about like carving out your own philosophy and really just sticking to your own guns?
And honestly, putting myself in situations like an escape artist that no one would no, that nobody next to me would dare put themselves in, and then trying to fucking figure out how I'm gonna get out of it. I did that. I pretty much
Mm,
dedicated my entire 20s to putting myself in a straitjacket, put myself in the most challenging gauntlets imaginable, and then figure out on the fly how I'm gonna fucking deal with this. And then obviously, once you overcome it several times, number one, you build a very, 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 very unbreakable type of confidence where no one can tell you anything anymore because you're literally fucking quantum leaping out of situations that would break most men. And then on top of that, you're
mm-hmm.
the wisdom, bro. The wisdom from fucking having to improv everything and improvise and work with like little to no resources, all that type of shit, man. It builds a fucking type of character, brother, that just is just very fucking fascinating. I mean, you're gonna have very fascinating thoughts when your back's against the wall, you're in a gigantic fucking hole, and the only conclusion you can come to is that you got to dig deeper to get out of it. You know, I mean, I
Gotcha.
was the type of guy where if I was in a hole, sometimes I would know I got to go down. I'm at the nickel core of the earth. I got to go down to the earth's mantle to get the fuck out of this. And so I had no problem digging a deeper hole sometimes to get that fucking strong rebound force, that ricochet force out of it. And then I'd always have a fucking story to tell.
Gotcha. So like when it comes to putting yourself in tough situations, like is that mainly just financial, just like buying something that you probably can't afford at the time, but just finding a way to get the money together so that you can keep living the lifestyle you
Yeah.
want to
So for
live?
me, man, I'll tell you this right now. I've always put the cart before the horse. That's always been my strategy intuitively is I always put the cart before the horse. And what I mean by that is I always had to spend money to earn more money. I always had to publish something to then make a fucking revision and edit after it was already published. Like I always had to make a promise, then figure out how to deliver it. You know what I'm saying? And like the thing is, you can
Mm.
hone your talent, you can hone your skills till kingdom come, but you're gonna get carved up by a motherfucker who can make promises and then piece that story together before the delivery. You're gonna lose to that motherfucker all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, that makes
And
that's
by
it's
the
funny you
way,
say
at the
that.
top, I don't think people even can reconcile how many mistakes, $1 billion mistakes, are being made every fucking day. But nobody knows about it because these guys move so briskly. They move so
Mm.
abruptly and so briskly that they're actually patching up these multi-billion-dollar mistakes in a reasonable amount of time to where there's just the collateral damage just gets kind of suffocated.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
So there's guys that are blowing up monster fucking accounts. There's guys that are managing tons of fucking funds that have literally nuked and detonated everything. But what I'm saying is they move so quickly to repair situations that they're actually able to repair it behind the scenes and still put a fucking encore performance when it comes time to perform.
Oh, so you're saying
Dude, I
like
know a guy,
essentially like
I know a motherfucker that I grew up with. He lied to his wife about a house that he bought because he wanted to impress her. He was feeling super insecure. And he fucking told her he bought a $2 million house and that it needed renovations and they were gonna move in 6 months. He never had the house. He put the lie out there to her, and then he figured out. He's like, all right, I got a 6 month clock now. I got to figure out how to pull it off. And he actually pulled it off, and he bought it before the 6 months, and she never knew. And
what
all
the
I'm
fuck?
telling you is, there's a lot at the top that those types of games are being played every motherfucking day.
So it sounds like you just got to put the pressure on, and then you'll just find a way to Houdini yourself into like
Well, I think
the.
it's a worthy attempt for every man. It's just that if you find out that you're not the guy and it's not for you, you can always fucking fall back on the cushion. That's the beauty of
Mm-hmm.
it. It's not like you got to fucking commit to this shit forever, but every man should put themselves in the fire at one point or another to see if they're fucking, see what they're made of. And if you're not, fucking, you can dust your hands off and go back and fucking apply for a job. No big deal.
Man, that's beautiful right there. That's true. So like you can really take all the risks you want, and at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, there's always a cushy job that you could get pretty
Always,
easily.
man. It's survival. That's why everyone's so fucked up in the modern world, bro. Because survival has just become way too fucking easy. I mean, you can do it blindfolded. You don't even. You can be a fucking troglodyte. You can have a fucking butchered IQ. Survival is just a joke in the modern world, which is why everyone's so fucking twisted, and you're starting to see all this like exotic types of experiments and shit.
Huh.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's
Well,
it's
anyway,
comfort, man. It's comfort. I mean, the animal ain't wired for this, is what I will tell you.
mm-hmm.
It ain't wired for modern civilization, which is why as a man, it's up to you. Got to like orchestrate these things up. You got to put these things on yourself. And I'll tell you something. The more that I live every fucking day, the more it confirms to me that stress that you put on yourself is 100% the fountain of youth, man. It just keeps
Mm-hmm.
people young. It keeps people moving. I remember maybe 10 years ago, one of my best friends I was growing up with, his mom was elderly. She had him super late in life. I think she was in her 70s. And she
What the
she had
fuck?
health issues, and she was kind of falling out, and she didn't look well, and she had a little retirement account. Anyway, my buddy was running a business, and he ran into a major fucking capital jam, and he had to go
Mm-hmm.
to his mom, and he had to tell her to break into a large portion of her retirement funds to bail him out. And she did
Shit.
it, and his route didn't end up working out, and he ended up going belly up in the company, and it ended up dissolving, and he went bankrupt and all that shit, and he couldn't pay her back in time. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember he used to call me, and he'd be like, dude, what do I do? He's like, she's hounding me every fucking day. She's asking me how it's going. Can she get the money back? And I told him, because I remember in the moment, it became crystal clear to me. This had been going on for like 5 months, and she was super fucking stressed out about it, and she was kind of tossing and turning. And I jokingly said to him, but in retrospect, it wasn't a joke. I said, "You understand? You just immortalized your mother." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Brother, this is life extension. You extended her life probably by 10 fucking years, because this little tiff that she got in with you is the biggest thrill that she's probably had in like 30 fucking years. She was bored. She was bored. She was dying. She had nothing going on. And you just gave her the roller coaster ride, the thrill of her life. And now chasing you down for this fucking money back, you just literally extended this chick's life. Like she's
Oh
gonna
my
go to live on
gosh.
another 10, 20 years easy from all the fucking stress.
What? Like it sounds crazy, but it actually that does make a lot of sense. Because like, isn't it like when people retire, it's just they die like 6 months later because they just don't have shit to do.
Bro, she was cooked. She had nothing going on. And then all of a sudden she was spry. Like the way she would call him and the way she would keep meticulous tabs on updates and how things were going. Like she had this brand new fucking life breathed into her spirit. It was unbelievable. Out of nowhere. Like this
Shit.
woman literally was like resurrected and had a new lease on life. You know what happened? Obliquely, she got fucking birthed a mission.
Huh.
She got birthed a mission and didn't even realize it.
So does that mean
By
that
the
like
way, by the
as
way, this ain't a joke. During that time, I think it ended up taking him like 4 years to get his bearings back. During that 4 year period, a lot of her health complications actually did disappear.
you
Dead
serious?
serious.
What the
Serious
fuck?
as a heart attack.
So it sounds like from what I'm hearing, it sounds like as long as you just have a mission, not only does it like give you life to like do more, but it kind of just because actually I talk about this a lot with my friends. It's like if you have a mission, it's like everything kind of just like solves itself by you just focusing on the one thing that actually matters to you. And then it seems like your friend also too, he like ended up giving his mom a whole mission by chasing his mission. So it's just crazy how
That's
all that
exactly
works
what
out.
I'm saying. So she didn't, unbeknownst to her, she actually had a mission. You know what I'm saying? She was in that motorcade, in one of those little side motorcades, and she came along for the fucking ride, man. And it injected her body. There was a hormonal upregulation response to whatever kind of stress she was going through, and her
Hmm.
body didn't capitulate. It fought back, and she got herself in a fucking thriving state. I mean, who would have known, man? Something like that changes the whole game. And now this lady's back on her feet. And now I joke about it. Now I joke about it. I'm like, dude, you want to make your grandfather fucking immortal? Ask that motherfucker for a massive fucking loan.
It's funny you said, because I'm thinking the same thing. I might need to go ask my grandma for a loan or something.
Fuck, man.
Get her out the house and doing
Fuck,
stuff.
man. Yeah, it's crazy how it works.
But hey, I really do appreciate this. I don't want to hog up the floor too much, but really, I do appreciate you for all the free
Yep.
game. And yeah, just stay
Yep.
blessed.
Yep. Take
Appreciate you.
care, man. Yo, Diogenes. Yo, Brett.
What's up, Brute?
Yo,
Hey, I had a
yo.
question for you.
Uh-huh.
So, in a few spaces, you've talked a lot about masculinity and femininity and like masculine attributes, feminine attributes. And the last one, you had a really interesting point about that the masculine attributes actually kind of dead end and that there's an aspect of femininity that a lot of men fail to integrate. I just want to ask you, can you expound on that point, maybe from a different angle?
Yeah, be more specific. What part of it? When I was talking about the female elements like ferocity, shit like that?
Yeah, and cunning and reciprocity, things like that. Kind of like the aspects of I don't know, just like skull crushing or meatheadedness that a lot of men kind of just adopt as a shell, which I think is a powerful point. But the aspects of that dynamic balance of the feminine attributes and the masculine to be like a whole individual.
Yeah, I mean it's more of a psychological structure. So it's not even, it doesn't even get down to the spiritual level in men, but like you want to be on a level playing field of women as far as you want to be able to be as petty as they are. And you especially when it comes to having long drawn out conversations with women, you have to be able to read between the lines and kind of tease things out. And you have to be able to kind of be have that equal footing with them or you're fucked. Like whenever I'm in a long, lengthy discussion with a woman, I am able to match the energy every fucking time, if not completely fucking dominate it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting there with my fucking arms crossed like a fucking ice statue, just fucking like getting reamed. That doesn't fly with me. Like if we're gonna do this and we're gonna go the psychological way, then you better fucking strap in because I got all the artillery you do plus some. But that's what I was saying is like in order to get that sort of, I don't want to call it a female brain, but in order to kind of understand it, you have to have been through some pretty fucking crazy turmoil in your life. Like it's that chaotic energy living in that kind of helps you develop that pattern seeking ability. It's a survival mechanism. You know what I mean? Being able to read people, being able to read between the lines. I think the most important skill on earth is being able to read between the lines. Because I don't really take things at face value. Whenever someone says something to me or behaves in a certain way, instantaneously I can ascertain what the fuck that really meant, what's going on underneath the surface, why you said that, where you're coming from, what your ulterior motive is. I have a rapid ability to discern all that shit. So like I'm just not the type of guy like I'm that's why I said like I'm not, and that's what's funny about it is that is a female perspective, and females in general are the easiest preyed by marketers. Marketing campaigns work very effective on women. They don't work on me at all. I am the least susceptible dude to any kind of fucking marketing campaign, ads, fucking door to door shit. I'm a brick wall. It's just not happening. You're not implanting your idea in my head. It's just not happening. And I've been armored against that by playing in that realm. Like I said, man, I think I said on a spaces a couple years ago, it's very valuable to have a couple very explosive, rocky relationships with women at some point in your life, because when there's a lot of fighting going on, you will naturally pick up on a lot of these skills that will help you once you find the right woman and you settle down and have a family. You will be able to integrate that shit and kind of keep the flames down. You'll be able to fan the flames before it gets out of control.
Yeah, that piece about reading between the lines, I can't even articulate how valuable that piece is, honestly. Right? I grew up with
Yeah,
three sisters.
if you can't see where people are coming from really when they say things, because women are never going to be able to tell you what's really going on. Everything with women that's going on that's not going right is a symptom, right?
Yeah.
Everything's a symptom. And it's your job as a man, you got to be a fucking bloodhound. You got to be able to sniff this stuff out. And so it takes a very vast well of experience to draw from in order to understand. Like, when a woman's complaining about you leaving your fucking shirts on the floor, it ain't about that.
Right.
It ain't about the fucking shirts. There's something else that's not being addressed, which is why she's harassing you and being fucking nagging and all that shit. Most guys think, most guys are walking on eggshells around their woman in panic, thinking that they got to fucking be careful about leaving their clothes out. It's like, you dumb motherfucker. There's something way deeper going on. She's complaining. She's complaining about that because there's something else that's not being fucking addressed. But here's what's interesting too, man, and I'll give you a sidebar that I think people need to understand about this. When a man is unhappy in a relationship with a woman, men, it's very hard to make a man tap out. Men don't call uncle very easily whatsoever. Have a tendency, Men have an inexplicable ability to stay in misery for a very long time. Men usually do not leave. Men will fucking sit through absolute hell for years and years and years and not even know the source of it. And one thing I've noticed is that when a man is very unhappy in a relationship with a woman, he will destroy everything in the perimeter of the relationship. In other words, he will start attacking everything but the actual problem itself. It's kind of like a chemotherapy strategy. He like applies radiation to every cell, trying to kill off everything, hoping the unconscious desires that if he destroys everything else in his life, maybe she'll get the courage to finally get up and fucking leave. Because men, for whatever reason, just can't get up and fucking make the first move. It's unreal. I see guys in their job that are working a job for 3 years. They want to quit. They don't want to be there, and they will do everything in their power to get fired. They want someone else to do the dirty work for them. They want the girl to leave. They want the fucking boss to fire them. God forbid they make the fucking first move and be the one that steps out.
Yeah.
And you
Preach it,
see
man.
that, dude, you see this pattern fucking everywhere, man.
I was gonna say in sales, it's like anytime you're talking to someone, you know the thing we're talking about is not what we're talking about. And I do think the ability to say it and call it gets you from point A to B so much more efficiently.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm honestly, brother, I got a fucking PhD in that. Like, if I see, if I sniff out any kind of fucking bullshit on phone calls, I just call it on the fucking table in 3 seconds.
Yep. And like you said, skills are made in the ring. There's no question there. So I full heartedly agree with what you're saying about just the dynamic of when you're breaking down relationships, getting to what's the thing behind the thing. That was the biggest feminine value that I learned from growing up with sisters. So I just thought that was a fantastic point, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Yep. What's up, Ghost Rider?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yo, yo.
Hey, I've heard you make numerous references to athletes getting the yips, and I thought it was interesting. On your last space, you said that you're kind of in a rut. When you talked about athletes having the yips, you've said that people need to lose all awareness of their technique. What are you doing right now to kind of unwind the bad flow that you're in?
I started throwing more weight on the bar. I started throwing more weight on the bar than what I think I'm capable of achieving, because it shuts down all the doubt. It shuts down any ability for me to kind of override myself and make a blunder before I make the attempt. You know, there's a trick in weightlifting, and I learned this from the Russians. This is a pretty badass fucking trick to psych yourself in the right direction, and I've used this extensively. It's called a dirty bar. So what you'll do is you'll attack a huge lift. Let's say I'm trying to snatch 300 pounds, right? And
Yep.
I keep missing for whatever reason. I'm too aware of my technique. I'm faking myself out before I take the attempt. So what the dirty bar is, you go take a 1 kilogram disc and you throw it on one side. So now you got a kilogram extra on one side, lopsided, right? So now you actually got more weight on the bar than what you just tried to take, and the bar is imbalanced by 1 kilo.
Right.
Do you know how? I mean, I'm sure you could take a wild guess. Do you know how many motherfuckers are successful on the next attempt once they get the dirty bar?
100%.
It's astounding how many people hit the next attempt, just knowing that they tweaked it and threw it off, because your body, when you lift the weight, yeah, it's 300 pounds, a kilo, you would think is not much percentage wise, but your body's going to go into that overcompensation mode and it's going to fucking throw it up even harder. And that's just the fucking, dude, that's the fucking beautiful fucking trick, because you can apply that to almost anything in your life. Like when if I have to go heavier if I'm struggling.
Yep, I totally get it. For a sport more like baseball or golf or tennis that's more in the mind, what would you do if you were in that position?
That's a great question, man, because I've had so many D1 pitchers reach out to me. I've even talked to some MLB guys who are talking about the pitching yips. I know that thing is fucking brutal. You want to tell us what that's like? Are you a pitcher?
No, so I'm not a pitcher, but I overcame the yips in golf. So I was like top 20 in the world at one point when I was a kid. And I got the driver yips to the point where I'm not shitting you, I couldn't keep it on the course. And
And it,
I eventually had to get crazy. Like now when I go play, I'm drinking before the round, I'm drinking during the round. I've never driven it better in my life, but I have a ton of friends that played pro baseball, NCAA baseball, and they said they would do the same shit. Like they had to get totally out of their head. No technique whatsoever.
yeah. And so those days where your strokes would be broken, like literally a week before, you're just shooting lasers, huh?
Right. Exactly. And you can do it on the range, you can do it in practice, but as soon as the game rolls around, you're fucked.
So give me an analogy. Is it fair to say the yips is like basically waking up as a boxer and one day your left jab just don't work?
100%. Like a boxer would be missing somebody that's standing still in front of them, and they couldn't tell you why it's happening. They couldn't tell you why it would be happening if they saw their technique on camera. Like they just can't put their hand on the opponent.
And then they start to get performance anxiety,
Correct.
which
And
digs a
then
deeper fucking hole.
right, then they start focusing on the technique, and then they've lost their entire field, their athleticism, everything.
Bro, that's happened to me probably 3,000 times in my weightlifting career. There's just some days I'll go in there and all of a sudden I just can't time a snatch. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Yesterday I didn't have one miss in a session. Today I've missed like 13 in a row. My timing is just horrific. And then you start fucking, I mean, dude, psyching yourself out. This is an underrated fucking topic. No one ever talks about this, man. How easy it is to psych yourself out of anything before you take an attempt.
Oh, for sure. Well, I got this theory that practicing too much leads to these detrimental performances. Because if you're practicing a ton and you're like a world class baseball player, golfer, Olympic lifter, you're ingraining into your brain that you don't have what it takes to get it done off of your natural ability. And I think that's the most fucked place you can be in.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. That's a fact. I had a coach one time who he wasn't really my coach, but he was kind of like a consultant for me. And he would like look at some of my videos of my lifts and shit, and he would give me cliff notes and just kind of opinions. I kind of scrapped the opinions, but I enjoyed kind of the technical side of it. And one of the biggest fucking pieces of bullshit advice that I ever got from any coach was that the way you practice is the way you perform in the arena.
Yeah, it's
That's
not whatsoever.
It's not whatsoever, man. The performance in the arena itself is a completely unique talent and ability.
Well, yeah. So, like in golf, there's a lot of analogies between guys that can't practice on the range that are great on the course, and then vice versa. And we would refer to them as like a range player, where they can stripe it on the range, then they get onto the course,
Yeah.
and they're literally like 20 handicap points worse.
Yep, guys that just know how to step up in the big moments. Dude, I watched in the French Open, there was a fucking barn burner tennis match between Sasha Zverev versus Carlos Alcaraz. It was the final, and this was fucking great, bro. This fucking highlights this perfectly. Zverev was getting his fucking ass kicked in the first set by Alcaraz, and he was getting frustrated because he couldn't return this dude's serves at all. And this guy is he's an all court player, but he's a fucking master on clay. And he just can't fucking return serve. And his father happens to be his coach. So after a return game, when he gets fucking smacked 40 love, you see him go over to the box and the camera pushes in and you see him gesture to his dad. He mouthed him. He's like, "What do I do?" Shrugs his shoulders, just totally frustrated. And his dad fucking sneers at him, like glowers at him and says, "You figure it out."
Right.
He literally says on camera, "You figure it out." Guess what happened? Next fucking game, he breaks the motherfucker's serve. It
Yep.
was it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen because if he gave him the technical aspect of it, he wouldn't have been able to fucking just go back into his body and figure it out. And he almost beat him, by the way. He ended up scalping the next two sets, and then he's a mental midget, so he fell apart towards the end. But he was dominating the rest of the match after that comment from his father.
Man, that's a whole other conversation in itself. Like, I don't think there's a bigger blessing than having a dad that's just an asshole to you if you're in sports. Like, there's nothing that creates a stronger DNA in an athlete.
100%, man. You just got to go back and trust your fucking intuition and use those fucking angels over your shoulder to kind of guide you. You know what I'm
One,
saying? Work your
100%.
work yourself out of that hole, man. Because you could see him. He was bitching out. He was like looking for fucking direction. He was looking for guidance from everywhere besides himself. Stop
Yep.
trusting yourself. And then, boom! Once that focal point went back in, this motherfucker got on a huge roll.
Hey, one more for you. What went into the decision to go to Scottsdale from LA? Because I was in LA as well throughout the pandemic, and I feel like I'm at the point where I need to get out of SoCal. But how do you like living in Scottsdale, and why did you go there originally?
So a couple dudes who played for the Arizona Cardinals hit me up to come lift with them, and I had never been to Arizona in my life, and I drove out there one weekend. It was actually a crazy story. I was hurting bad at the time, and this was right when NFTs were super fucking popular. And I jumped on the wagon and I fucking uploaded a picture of my fucking head as an NFT. I think I listed it for something like 40 G's or like 36,000, something like that. Someone bought it within 24 hours. And I took that bread and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna fucking bounce to AZ for a bit. And I went to AZ that same weekend and I fucking started lifting with these guys on the Cardinals. And I've never been back since.
Man, that's crazy.
And I came out there with just a fucking duffel bag. I had like 3 pairs of clothes, some shoes, and I've never been back to LA since, brother. It's been 3+ years. Chance weekend, and I just figured it out, made it happen, lived in a hotel, worked my way up. It was crazy too, because when I came to Scottsdale, I remember driving through the first time looking up on Camelback Mountain where all the beautiful houses were. And I remember just kind of logging that in the archives of my head. And then sure as shit, bro. Sure as shit, 3 years down the road, I'm up there on that fucking mountain that I saw when I was driving in. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I'm just an adaptable fucking creature. You can throw me anywhere and I'll scale my way to the top pretty quickly.
Yeah, I hear you. I think there's something to that warm weather though, and I get why people would go there from LA.
Bro, I love the fucking dry heat, man. I'm like the only guy outside during the day. Everyone's fucking, all the snowbirds leaving shit, man. I love the fuck. It's like 115 today, I think. I'm like outside 8 or 9 hours a day.
Yep. I get it.
Yep.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yo, Joel. Yo, Joel.
Yo, Brute, what's good?
What's
I just
good?
got a question about self-talk, especially monitoring what you should really listen to. And I remember you mentioned kind of self-talk and maintaining that and telling you the right things is super important. So how do you go about installing the right things in your brain whilst also kind of throwing away the shit that is only going to send you off track?
Good question. So I've kind of actually revised that theory on the fly, and I figured there's a superior way to even the self talk. Okay, look, your mind and your thoughts are completely fucking uncooperative. It is anyone who tells you you can control your thoughts, you can fucking, they're lying to you. No motherfucker can truly control their fucking thoughts. That's just a complete fucking myth. I'll tell you right now. But I think most people have been fooled by the modern world into believing that your all battles are battles that are won by rationality. As if you score points and you tally up the scoreboard by being on the correct side of things. And let me tell you something. You are going to get your ass fucking handed to you by somebody else who makes their thoughts yield to their emotions. And I think that's the superior way. That's the way I've been experimenting with my whole fucking life. And I recently was able to put it into words. I make my thoughts submit to my emotions. My emotions fucking control everything. Because the rational side of things, brother, there's really no payoff there. It's a very, 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 very highly irrational world.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. I feel like you can talk your way out of things with the pure logic. Sometimes it's best just to double down on those impulsive feelings, but
I,
also kind of separating the degeneracy out of the, you know, the more positive side of things.
yeah, man. I mean, I'm just dude. I'm an emotional fucking creature, man. Always have been. Always wore my heart on my sleeve. Always been passionate about anything that I do. I was a sore sport growing up and shit, and I've always embraced it. I don't. My thoughts are very stormy, bro. Like I can barely even put together a coherent thought in my own head throughout the day, but yet I know how to make the right moves. As soon as I get into the arena, something snaps on and it just becomes automatic for me. And I think that's why. I think that's what's made me so fucking good in the arena. That's why I flourish. Because I
Yeah.
really, really don't try to sit there and have clarity of mind. I don't even have clarity of mind. I do have clarity of body though. My body is extremely fucking healthy and strong. And I have a strong hunch that the vitality and the health and the spirit that I have within my body kind of feeds and pipes the intuition into my head, makes things easier for me. But like I don't plan anything. I don't pre-plan thing. I don't ever have to mull things over in my head a second time. Anytime I'm asked something, I know in a fucking snap second whether I want to do it, whether it's the wrong thing for me. Everything I do, I make a decision in a snap fucking judgment moment in time, and I don't doubt it.
So would you say a lot of that comes from, because I was going to link it back to kind of childhood, because everyone says that's where you're kind of heavily programmed from. Would you say you can kind of mold that in a sense just through straight experience? Like you do get that intuition through being in certain scenarios that, in a split second you can say, okay, you can just assign labels to certain things going on and navigate it that way.
100%. It's that, and it's also the ability that I don't believe I can make mistakes. I can fuck up grandly. I can fuck up better than anybody in the world, but I know that it's like fucking what's his name, William Blake said. I think he said man is dirigible, which means man is steerable. I know I can fucking steer the ship, and sometimes I gotta fucking turn a battleship around with a carved wooden oar, and it's gonna take me a second. But I'm gonna keep fucking paddling, and I believe that every fucking mistake you make can be righted. That's why I said the truth is malleable, because you might have fucked up now. You might be in a pinch now. You might be in a hole now, but that doesn't have to be true 6 months from now. You can fix that. You can change history. So
For sure.
if you operate from the premise that everything you do, you can figure out how to turn it into a victory, then it really doesn't matter what the fuck you do, right? You can make snap calls. You can make snap judgments like you're fucking flying a fucking Blackbird going Mach 6. What's the fucking difference? You're going to adjust on the fly. You're gonna adjust on the fly. You're gonna fine tune your craft as you're going, and you're gonna fucking figure it out as you just keep going forward. And so I've just always had that bull rush kind of matador mentality where I'm just gonna keep going into the like kind of like Hunt for Red October, where you just go into the head of the nuke. That's always been my style. I'm like a moth to a flame. I see flame, boom, I rush to it. I've been like that with opportunity. I've been like that with everything. And then you don't really have to worry about making the right moves because everything's the right fucking move when you live from intuition.
Yeah. Would you
Like
say that?
what the fuck is everyone so fucking worried about, man? Calculating fucking decisions. Life don't work like that. Life doesn't reward your little fucking calculations. And if it does and you end up winning big off your little calculations, your spirit's gonna be dead. What kind of life is that? So now you're sitting on a huge fucking bag of money, but you're spiritually lobotomized. I don't want that. I told you, bro. Money problems are an energy problem. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Like your style, the way you deal with your finances, the way you deal with anything, all comes back to where your energy flow is. If you have
Mm,
high energy, you're gonna fucking hate those little cushy fucking 10% APR returns every year. You'll even probably hate 30, 40%. You're gonna want to get in the fucking arena and get your hands dirty every day and hunt for your fucking kills. That's what high energy people do. That's why some people just love sales. They love that commission, being reliant on fucking commission because it feeds their spirit. And they know that if they were on that fixed income, they would fucking slack off and lose their spirit.
yeah, I hear that. I'm in a similar position. So I run an e-commerce brand, but it's kind of soul draining. It's a lot of time in front of a laptop. It's very systematical. There's not really too many ups and downs. I tried to counteract that with just constant traveling, so at least I have some kind of entropy going on. But yeah, really, yeah, there's definitely something missing.
That's a good style. I know a bunch of dudes that are doing that type of shit, like trying to. I mean, look, man, there's like very few solutions to this type of shit, man. It's oftentimes spending money and then trying to figure out how you can keep up with it. But you understand the paradox, right? People spend more money when they don't have any.
Yeah,
People always spend more bread than they even have when they don't have any. And when people do have money, every expenditure feels like a fucking paper cut. You just feel like you're dying by 100 fucking cuts when you have it. But when you don't have it, that's when people are splurging and going over the top. Pretty fucking interesting how the psychology works.
yeah, for sure. And would you say this kind of mindset is an innate thing, or do you think it is a skill you can develop over time?
I think it's innate. I think the skill can definitely be developed, like in the sense that you can absolutely get better. No, here's the thing. Like finances, I think are locked in genetically. Like if you're born cheap, you're probably gonna die cheap. That shit's as terminal as fucking cancer. To me, I've never seen a cheap person become not cheap. If you've always been free flowing, freewheeling, fucking loose with your money, I mean, you're probably always gonna die that way as well. I don't think I've never really seen people make provisions on that end of it, but you can put yourself in more challenging situations where you can start. You got to basically make your feeder wider, like whatever's feeding your business. Like those types of guys who are cheap and who struggle to kind of spend, those guys would be much better off throwing a bunch of different arms in their business to kind of add some chaos to the mixture. You know what I mean? Like a guy who's a control freak and who's working by himself would probably be better off grabbing a huge fucking team to help him out. Throw yourself in like a leadership position.
Yeah,
You
I
just
hear
need
that.
you need some kind of stimulus that's gonna fucking overwhelm the current situation in order to make a change. That's the only way anything ever happens.
Yeah. So you'll double down on drastic change, just implementing something that might not even make sense, just to kind of kick up some dust.
Kick up some dust, see where it settles. And like I said, what's the downside of it? I mean, if you fail, we all know in modern worlds, I mean, it's just so easy to fucking cruise by. It's easy to cruise by. Anyone can do it.
Yeah, for sure. I do have one last question. It's a little less relevant, but I remember on a Spaces way back, you said you did some Muay Thai. I wondered if you could touch on that, if that kind of taught you any lessons or
Yeah,
anything to
so
do
I
with
mean,
that experience.
yeah. So I was super broke. I was 18, and I come from a long line of prize fighters in my family. I got my one of my grandfathers, one of my uncles, my dad himself, all boxers, and so I picked it up from an early age. Like I was doing Dutch kickboxing way before it was even in the UFC. I was learning that shit when I was like 7. So when I was 18, my brother was also a very talented fighter. We would do these garage fights, and then I went to Europe when I got kicked out of my house. I went there with a woman, and I was playing high stakes poker over there in Monaco. And I would go to Italy. Italy had a really, really, really subterranean fight culture. like 10 years ago. People don't realize like MMA, jiu-jitsu and shit, huge over in Europe. And I would do smoker fights, which were basically unsanctioned, basically no rules. I mean, you can't fucking kick people in the balls and spit on them, but pretty much anything else flies. I had 12 smoker fights when I was super young, and they paid horribly, man. I mean, at the time, it was good money for me. It was like $2,500 for a fight,
Yeah.
and
Shit.
I coasted off my athleticism. By the way, I was pretty lazy in training. And dude, there was an interesting little side theory I'll give you. I have a theory that the guys, the tough men of history, the fucking the mountain men, the fucking frontiersmen, the guys who fucking literally discovered Colorado, Wyoming, those fucking mountain back motherfuckers. Those guys were the toughest motherfuckers on earth. And if you read the lore and you read the literature about the types of shit that they experienced, they would get into tons of fucking fist fights with people in their camps and caravans. I venture to tell you that those motherfuckers who were not trained in MMA whatsoever would whoop the fuck out of any modern skilled fucking MMA fighter, because they just had the conditions of life were so different back then. Life was so tough. It was so hard scrabble that there was just an innate toughness in you from birth that was instilled. And I have a feeling that that's why society is sort of slingshotting the other way, is because society is so easy that now you're starting to see the popularity and rise of MMA, which is basically just a proxy to try to make conditions tough as they were in history. So those tough mountain motherfuckers, bro, I promise you would knock the fucking block off of a modern MMA fighter with zero fucking fight training. They were just so fucking tough and had that natural strength that you just can't even get in a gym. It was more of like a fighting spirit. Does that make sense? Like there was a spiritual component to it. They had so much fucking heart that you're just not gonna knock this guy out. He's just gonna keep coming at you until he takes you down.
Yeah, there's a certain level of grit that comes with that for sure.
That comes with that environment. And so like when I was training, that's why I stopped training, because I realized this is just a fucking pastiche. This is a clone. I'm trying to clone something that's not even fucking there. Like I'm trying to fabricate this environment and get this skill set that isn't even really applicable to the modern realm. So I kind of got out of it. But yeah, bro, I was lazy in training. I was chain smoking. I would run a very short fucking camp and I was whooping ass in there.
But yeah, bro, I'll let someone else take the floor here. I appreciate it.
Yep. Probably got 200 fucking questions. Yo, bow tied analyst.
Hey, bro, what's good, man?
What's up, bro?
First off, I've been consuming your content for the past couple of years, and you've really helped me just kind of get my shit together and move things in a positive direction. So I appreciate you, brother. I just wanted to talk about, I've been reading the Elon Musk biography by Walter Isaacson, and it's been pretty interesting. It kind of just talks about how he's basically taken just a flamethrower to his brain and, pushing himself and his team on these big objectives and just making them tangible by just relentlessly pushing, frankly. But his relationships with women, I think, are super interesting. He's got kids with his Neuralink executive, he's got kids with Grimes, kids with his first wife, he has a second wife that he got divorced to twice in there. And it seems like a lot of the men at the top basically have harems, whether or not it's like explicitly or implicitly in that. And I just wondered what your thoughts on that type of relationship were. Like, does that work? Is that like something practical once you have so much money? Just kind of, I know you said that you wanted to have 10 kids. Tate obviously is, um, very successful, I think, in this regard. And just wanted to get your take.
Yeah, it's a good question, man. I think I don't know that Musk actually attempt that configuration.
I don't know that he formally attempted it, but he's super pro having kids. And um, yeah, I mean, he has 5 kids with his first wife. They got divorced. He married and divorced Tallulah twice. His Neuralink executive has been a close to intellectual companion of his over the years, and he just, professes his love of kids and that until
Yeah, I mean, dude, that type of mind.
want to have
Yeah.
kids.
The type of mind that guy has is so incompatible with any kind of modern relationship. He can't give anybody any attention. That's the problem. This guy is like so maniacally, monolithically obsessed with his fucking dream that he just literally can't. He doesn't have time for anybody. But I'll tell you this as a side note, and then I'll get back to it. I saw there was a post a year ago, and I used to think Elon was a cuck, but I don't think so. There was a post of these blurbs that ex-girlfriends had said about Elon. These kind of like iconic little blurb quotes, and one of them was hard as fuck. And that's when I knew Elon was actually the guy. I think one of his exes, and I forget who, said I could say anything to him while we were fighting, and he would be completely unfazed. Something along the lines of that. And I just remember sitting there and I was like, dude, that is exactly like that's it. There's nothing that no more needs to be said about anybody. Like if you could put that on an epitaph and you could get something fucking engraved on your fucking tombstone, you'd want something similar to that. Like this is a guy who's seen it all, done it all, been it all. So I just thought that was hard as fuck, and I was like, he's probably is the fucking guy, even though he's had tumultuousness and like you said, he's had fucking several divorces and splits and trysts like blow up and shit. But about the harem thing, I don't know that that shit really works, man. I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
What
makes
are your
sense.
thoughts on it?
Um, to be completely honest with you, brother, over the past couple of years, I've kind of improved my life a lot. I'm not like a multimillionaire or anything, but I'm making, mid five figs a month and doing pretty well for myself. And as I've become more successful, as I, dress better, as I get in better shape, I've noticed that the way women respond to me, I mean, once they find out you're moderately successful together, frankly, they kind of throw themselves at you, you know? So I could see how like a lot of guys at the top are getting a ton of play and no one else is really getting anything. I think one of the biggest realizations I've had is that like the lifestyle that you can provide a woman is how she feels about you. And like the way that you feel about a woman's hotness is how she feels about the lifestyle that you can provide for her. And I think that's super underrated, especially as like the economy just gets worse and it gets harder for people to survive.
See, I've been kind of thinking the opposite. I think I've been telling guys to get the fuck out of here with the breadwinner shit, even though I happen to be in that style. I just think, bro, a lot of women that I know are outbreeding a lot of men in a lot of ways. There's like a schism in the culture. Like women, I don't think women really have financial issues in the modern society. They're kind of killing it. Whether they're whatever fucking platforms they're using. I mean, women are doing all right on that end. But yeah, obviously, dude, at the extremes, like the right end of the bell curve, of course, then you're gonna have those configurations. But I also think that the lifestyle here's how I see men and women. Okay, we basically like women for their looks, and women. I think women. People say women are irrationally in love. I think women are very rational with the way they love a man because I don't believe women ever actually love a man. It's always something around you that they love. Does that make sense? Like women love the things that are going on around you. It's not necessarily you. And I've kind of zeroed in on this, and that goes kind of hand in hand. That kind of dovetails with your point about the lifestyle. Um, but yeah, bro. I mean, women have zero clue about scale, dimension, shit like that. Like they don't understand the creation of money whatsoever. So like you'll upgrade a woman's lifestyle. You can literally take a woman out of the workforce who grew up in like a fucking lower caste society, and you can start throwing her on private jets and taking her around the fucking world. She'll start blowing money that same day like she was born that way.
True,
She'll start
true.
blowing money like it was like she had this thing the entire fucking time. There's really no appreciation for it. I'll also tell you something interesting. Women don't have the ability to really process cash itself. Like the numbers don't mean anything to a woman. Tell a woman you have 3 million, tell a woman you have 30 million. They don't care. They don't really understand the purchase power or like the relativity of like what you can really do with 30 million, what you can really do with 3 million. And I know this because when I used to live in Vegas, I would have huge wins, and I'd be with like a girlfriend or whatever, and I'd go to my vault, and sometimes I'd have to pull out $1 million in cash, in actual cash bricks, and I'd have to go down to the casino floor to place a bet. And she'd go down with me, and I had to stuff it into a fucking duffel and carry it down. And every time that vault opened, I experimented with this every which way. There was never any gasp or their eyes never popped out of their head. They didn't give a fuck. Like, you show a woman $1 million in physical paper, they're just like, oh, that's cool. Women only, but you show a motherfucking man $1 million in paper, this motherfucker's gonna be freaking out. Like, most people have never seen that kind of money in
For
physical paper
sure.
because they understand what you can do with that. Women, though, appreciate and respect the conversion of the cash. So like they only understand the Ferrari. Like show them the Ferrari, then they're fucking bedazzled by it. But tell them that Ferrari was 260 G's in cash. They don't give a fuck. They don't think you're cool. It doesn't turn them on. They don't give a fuck until it's converted into something like a fucking diamond or a ruby or a topaz or a Ferrari or a crib. Like that's the only way they can understand the power of money is when it converts. The cash itself is totally fucking irrelevant to their brain.
That makes
And
sense.
if you know my fucking, if you know my like my thesis on a lot of things, you'll see how that coincides with my philosophy in a lot of ways about spending more to earn more, about spending to gain.
That's fair. Thank you, bro. I appreciate
Yep.
you, brother.
Yo, and viral. And viral. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Yo, Sean boy.
Yo, what's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Yo, so I'm in this situation right now where it's pretty nuclear with my girl. I'm 24. I got a 7-month-old son, and things were great when she was pregnant and whatever. She would fucking do anything for me, fucking at my behest. But nowadays, it's fucking like we absolutely fucking hate each other. It's like insults, toxic as fuck. It's pretty honestly crazy. And her only other option is to, like, I mean, she's got nothing, she's got nothing. So her only other option is like, if I kick her out, she's going to like 100 miles away to live with her dad or whatever, and taking my kid. I don't know what the fuck to even do. I know you have a son with a previous relationship, so I was just kind of seeing, what your insight on that would be.
Yeah, I think this is super common. You said your baby's what, 7 months old?
Yeah,
Yeah, so tell me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming that you're not domesticated in the sense that you're probably the type of guy who can't sit there and fucking like be a second mom. You're not trying to fucking sit
exactly, dude.
and
Exactly.
and that's probably the source of the friction, correct?
100 fucking percent, dude.
And
I'm
she wants
always
and she probably wants a ton of help.
help. Yes, she always
Okay.
complains about it, and I'm always like out there trying to get a bag, like doing me, making music, doing like how I was before. Just all shit, like all this shit happened.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, this is just the fucking male instinct, bro. God bless the motherfuckers who are domesticated because I've gone through the same fucking thing. And I'll tell you this, it is like the natural male impulse is like, you're not a second mom.
Yeah,
You're just not. You can't do it. Like, I could not sit there and play with baby blocks for 5 hours a day. I just can't do it. I'll blow my fucking brains out.
yeah. I mean, I see my son every day, and I love like holding him and like
Of
bonding,
course.
but like
Of course.
after like a while, I'm like, all right, I really gotta go. I got shit to do, and it's just like,
Are you a chaotic motherfucker in the sense that your train of thought, does it annoy you when like you're in a train of thought or you're in a flow, you're in a rhythm, and then you get asked for help?
yes,
You got to break
fuck,
the rhythm. go help out, go hold the baby. Now you feel like your whole momentum and all your train of thoughts been fucking
Yes, one hundred
erased.
percent. That's why, like, bro, honestly, like, I got my phone, or I got her specifically, like, fucking muted. Like, I don't want no interruptions to my shit. I want to, like, cause like that shit bothers me. Oh, I gotta drive somewhere. We gotta do some shit or whatever. I'm just like, nah.
So let me tell you something that works fucking wonders. All right, and it's not a big investment, but you're probably gonna have to do it. At least fucking give it a shot. If you take 1 or 2 hours out of your fucking day just for quality time, and you literally put your phone the fuck away, you go hang out with the baby, you go hang out with her, have a fucking conversation, be present for the 1 or 2 hours. You have 22 motherfucking hours left in the fucking day to do whatever the fuck you got to do. And that's all it's gonna take. And I promise you, the complaining and the fucking bitching and the moaning and whatever will fucking come to a fucking screeching halt. But you got to be willing to put that time in every fucking. It should be every day, brother. It really should. I mean
Do
that
you
because I'm
go
saying
ahead?
that's what you signed up for. And I think that like, look, it's no secret that when babies are that young, they really do need their mother way more than they need you.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's breastfeeding. If she is or isn't, it doesn't matter. I mean, she's super dependent upon her mom for survival right now. So yeah,
Right.
she's gonna have her most of the time. But this is the problem about two people back to back trying to take on the world by themselves, man. I mean, you need like, does she have sisters? You have family that you can incorporate and come over and fucking give her a helping hand? Because dude, it is stressful as fuck on them in the beginning, especially because they're just not feeling safe and their hormones are fucked up. They need to feel that extra sense of safety and protection from you. So if you're too focused on your mission and you can't take that time to just show her that you still care and you're still there and you're still rocking with her, you're gonna awaken that beast that I talked about on that last spaces, and then she's just gonna
Yep.
she is gonna come at you, brother, every minute of every day and make your life and her life a miserable fucking hell. And then you know who gets dragged in the crosshairs?
The
The
kid.
innocent one, the kid. And then it becomes a strain and a stress on them because they sense everything and they know when you guys have tension. So for the fucking sanity and care of your child, you're gonna have to fucking, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but you're gonna have to grow up a little bit and put that time into it, brother. Like you really don't have a choice because this is what you signed up for. You can't just leave her to take care of a fucking kid because that's gonna really fucking hurt the kid.
Yeah, like, I mean,
And I'm sure I know what you're going through, bro. Like you guys are probably fucking hating. Are you guys sleeping in the same bed right now?
nah, nah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we hate each other, bro. I'm telling you. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, the Kraken is awakened, bro. Like you were talking about in the last stream. I think I requested to speak because I was like, damn, perfect moment because I wanted to tell you this shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
bro.
You dropped a fucking stick of dynamite in a fucking volcano.
Yeah, bro. For real.
That's what you did. And I'll tell you this, it's all you. You are literally the leader. She's gonna follow your lead. So you're setting the example every time you shun her off. And I'm sure I can almost imagine it. When she hands you the baby or asks you for a favor, you're probably fucking rolling your eyes.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
your body language is all fucked up. You're trying to show her you don't want to fucking be there. She's bothering you. You gotta fucking clean that shit up, man. You gotta clean that shit up. She needs your fucking support, man. I mean, you fucking put a baby in her.
yeah. Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
dude, I know it's me, and I know it's like my fault that she's acting this way. Because I mean, before the baby was here, I mean, it was totally different. And I mean, yeah, it was way, way worse when he was a newborn. But like, I
so
mean,
you know what you got to do?
if
You got to go back to the oil painting, because women are futuristic creatures. So what you got to do is you got to go back to painting that fucking picture of the future and what's popping and what's coming up. Keep her informed. Like, what kind of deals you working on, brother? I am telling you, women just love the communication of knowing what's going on. If you start getting distant while you have a baby with a woman and you're obsessed with your mission and you're like, fuck this bitch, she's interrupting my mission, I don't want to be around her, dude,
Mhm.
you are going to fucking incinerate everything to a fucking cigarette butt. Don't do that. Go back to like, women need the future fucking painted for them. You gotta like get back to that. Show her what's coming. Show her what's she can look forward to. What's ahead for you guys. Like you
yeah,
gotta
bro.
fucking start painting those fucking pictures again, man. And I know it's fucking tough because I'm the same fucking way, man. I like to play. My mission comes before everything, even myself.
Yeah.
But I've had to step up big in the last 2 months, brother, and sit down and have these fucking conversations and just be present and fucking and then get back to my shit. And that's literally all it takes though to make them satisfied. Give them the 2 hours and be super fucking expressive and communicative and tell her what's going on. Because that's gonna give her the safety and she's gonna feel protected. And then guess what? She's gonna get the fuck off your ass. She's feeling super fucking abandoned right now. Like she's thinking any minute you're gonna ditch her and leave her with a 7 month old. That's exactly what's going on. So obviously, a new mother, the fucking claws and the fangs are gonna come out because you're essentially threatening her young. You're threatening her cubs in the den without even being aware of it. So you're gonna have to go
Yep.
back, and it's tough for guys like us, man. Like we're the weak. My Achilles heel has always been the comfort side of it because I'm so fucking maniacal. I'm such a crazy motherfucker on this other end of the spectrum that it can make people feel unsafe. And so you got to go back to the safety aspect. And it doesn't,
Yo, have
but real quick, bro, it doesn't even matter if you like her or don't like her. I'm saying you got to do this for the benefit of your child.
yo, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yo, I guess we'll keep it pushing.
Yo, can you hear me,
Yo,
bro?
Sean, I'm here, man. I'll just,
All right, yo, I don't know what happened, bro. I just had like a weird connection issue, but yeah, it's harder to like want to do that and invest that time after like it's just the way that after the Kraken's been released, it's like what like I don't even want to like I don't even want to do
I
it.
know you don't. I know you don't. I know exactly what you're going through. You don't want to do it. You want to go the opposite direction. Every time she pisses you off and upsets you and causes inflammation to your situation, you want to go the opposite direction to teach her a fucking lesson. I know you want her to fucking suffer until she
Yep.
submits. That's that's a
Yeah.
tactic that a lot of motherfuckers use. They want a woman to be absolutely fucking miserable and in fucking the pits of hell so that finally they just give up and are like, fuck, I surrender. Let me tell you something. That ain't happening with a 7 month old. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You can wear a chick down when you don't have kids with her. But as soon as you get offspring, brother, she will fight like a possum until the end of fucking time and wear your ass down until everybody's destroyed. And that's the scary thing too.
Yeah, bro. It's like yeah, I mean it's just straight up like you know exactly what's going on, but I was gonna ask, like, if you know who Brandon Carter
I
is.
don't.
Um, okay, well, he said the same thing about making 2 hours out of your time, like tops, to spend with your women, just to like keep them sane. But I feel
Bro,
like even after that two
bro,
hour,
do you know how bored? You know how bored a woman is when they have a newborn and they literally have to sit around all day feeding her, clothing her, changing her diapers and shit. They get bored to tears. So their
yeah,
mind starts twisting and warping reality, and they start hyper focusing on nonsense. And that's a failure of leadership on your part because her mind should not be going there. You should be getting in front of the problem before it becomes a problem. And the only reason why I'm pushing this so hard on you is because here's what's going to happen. Women will start to resent the fuck out of the kid if you become a fucking prick. So she's gonna start hating your fucking son or daughter. Like that's a
wow,
real fucking thing. They start to despise them because you're an image cast. You're a reverse mirror of the baby. And you don't fucking want that. Then she's gonna start mistreating her or him unconsciously. It's not even gonna be conscious. There's gonna be neglect. She's gonna want to
wow.
tap out. So like the ripple effect of this shit, it ain't a joke. It,
Yeah, and it's crazy too because you say that my son, she always has said like once he started developing that he looks exactly like me. So it's just like I could imagine she would just resent him because it makes just remembers like me from looking at
that's
him.
exactly what's gonna happen. And it's all going to get transplanted on the kid. I mean, bro, this is literally the start of generational damage. Like, this is exactly how this shit happens. Dudes have a kid. You guys are all high on it during the pregnancy. Kid comes. Guy doesn't want to fucking be around because he can't fucking sit there around baby screams all day. Wants to get back on the mission. Wants to get back to work. Starts neglecting his chick. Then his chick starts inflicting all the trauma onto the fucking baby in retaliation to the man without even realizing it, because that's how incendiary and how fiery women are. Their flame is so insane and out of control, because this isn't a lighter, brother. This is a forest fire you're playing with. So everybody's gonna get burned.
Yeah.
She's gonna burn down the house, you, the baby. Everyone has to die with women. When women are like suffering and they're not getting the help they need and support, they're gonna fucking burn every motherfucker to the floor. And you know why that is? That's the biological response, that if they create that much chaos and that much hell for everybody, maybe a counter force will come in and see what's going on and come save them. Then you get the damsel in distress archetype. And you
Yeah.
don't fucking want to go down that road. Even if you guys are done, like, you still have an obligation to the kid. That's the way I see it.
Bro, oh man, you like you're making me want to just like go back to my fucking
You
crib
got to
right
go
now.
back right now, dog, and show that woman some fucking love, man. I'm dead serious. And sit down with her and fucking tell her what is up. Because her mind is going to go to some really fucking dark places, brother. And you don't want women getting their programming from anybody but you, especially in a trying time like this.
Right.
Especially in a trying time like this, man. You got to go fucking man up, go have a sit down with her, and fucking rectify this shit, bro. Now. Like, not tomorrow. You need to go handle this now.
Yeah, like I've been spending like way too much time away, like, and she even says it, but I'm like, yo,
Bro,
like, why
22
would I want to
hours?
be
You have
around you?
22 hours a day to yourself, bro. That's more than a fucking enough. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? This is more of like a Peter Pan, I don't want to grow up childish thing of like, you're making it seem like it's an inconvenience to you, but it's not that big of an investment. But it's all communication, dude. You have to inform her like what the fuck is going on. And like I said, women are futuristic. They live in the future. So if they don't see anything that's coming, or they're not planning anything, or they have no hope for what's to come, they're gonna fucking burn you to the ground. So get your fucking easel out, get those fucking paintings out, baby, and start making some fucking Picassos.
Yeah, bro, I'm about to catch up right now. I'm about to probably head back there and just chill. Like, damn, bro, like I just really needed to talk to someone who actually has been through this shit. So I really appreciate your
Of course,
insight.
brother. Best of luck to you, man.
Yeah, peace.
Yo, Foday.
Yo, Brute, what's up?
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, I heard you talk
What'd you say? It's fucking. Yo, I can't hear you.
worrying and learn about different problems. You can hear me?
Now I can. Start over.
Yo, can you hear me? All right, I was talking about how before you brought up how you talked about worry and problems in your life and how you just need to like pick up more problems to like get rid of the worry.
100%.
And okay, so what do you think about being a jack of all trades? Because I find myself like I've been that person my whole life. Like I really can never focus on one thing. I have to have like 50 things going at one time
It's the
just to,
it's the whole
be at peace.
it's the holy grail of archetypes, because experts, people who are specialized in one thing, their only mission in life is to come in and rescue a jack of all trades who ran into a problem. You understand? Because
Right. Yeah.
specialists, there's no really no risk involved at that point, because they've mastered their craft. So they usually have like a standalone business. They're usually doing consulting, etc. They're troubleshooting. Specialists are out there troubleshooting problems that jack of all trades are running into. That's their fucking client base. So if you get yourself in a jam, you can always hit up an expert if you don't know how to move forward. You know what I'm saying? But they don't have that latitude because they're the expert. So it's the guy who's painting shots and being wild and in chaos and throwing shit around. He's the motherfucker who runs into the issues that the expert has to come in and solve for you. So it's the peak archetype. You're in the power position. But I'll tell you this for a
Right. Because
fucking fact. I'll tell
uh,
you this for a fact, man. You are As a man, it doesn't matter what anybody tells you. You are measured as a man by society, in society's eyes, by the caliber of your problems and not your accomplishments. No one really gives a fuck about your accomplishments. They care about the caliber of problems that you have to solve.
Type shit.
The
Type
caliber,
shit. Yeah,
the
because I find
caliber
myself
of the
being
fucking
that guy.
problems. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I saw an interview with Dana White, one of the hardest interviews I've ever seen. Motherfucker, I didn't know this. Before he was the CEO of UFC, he was 40 million in debt trying to launch that company. And the motherfucker sitting across from him said, "How did you manage that? How did you walk through life knowing that you were 40 million in debt?" He said, "It didn't fucking matter because I knew I was going to be a billionaire." And that's like that pattern that you see every big dog in any domain. It follows the same fucking rubric every fucking time. Mountain of debt, didn't care, knew they were going to be so rich it was going to erase the fucking game board in one fucking grand slam, one swing of the bat. It was all going to be over, and they fucking carried on like it was nothing. Sherpa, a mountain Sherpa hiking up the fucking mountain. Didn't matter. And he had that blase cavalier attitude towards it, as they all did. Donald Trump, all these motherfuckers were many hundreds of millions in debt, tens of millions in debt. All of them fucking figured it out. Why did I say your success as a man is proportional to the amount of debt that you can carry? I'm not even talking financial debt. Think about the other debts that you're in emotionally, the fucking relationships that you're in out of sympathy that you haven't been able to get rid of, the friends that you don't even like anymore. Those are all debts. You can carry that on your back until you win, and then you can you can bring out the fucking weed cutters. But my point is, I don't believe in cutting those things out and cutting out the bad until you get to the top of the summit, because it's all fuel up there. Like, I don't believe in spring cleaning. I don't believe in pausing halfway up the mountain and doing a fucking inventory check. How's my state of mind? How's my emotions? How's my welfare? Fuck all that. You got to
Right.
get up. You got to
Right.
get up to the top, and then you can go back and get the balance sheet out and start totaling things up and start making things right. But until you get there, I told you this before, you're gonna have to carry 1,000 fucking monkeys on your back. You better be strong. You better be strong, and you better keep those legs moving.
Right. Yeah, because the other day I seen it said something about like if you move fast enough, you don't have to worry about things. It was backwards. It said if you're out of control, it means you're moving fast enough. And I find myself in that period of my life where it's just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm just moving.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's how everybody who's won has won. They had no idea what the fuck was going on, but they were moving so fast that they were able to kind of see opportunities in the periphery and kind of scalp it along the way. That's how it works. You just got to keep moving forward, though. You can't get hung up on the
Type
little
shit.
things, because those problems have to sometimes keep stacking. Sometimes those problems just compound on you, and you have to sit there and be uncompromising. I mean, that's very much been my situation 100 times in my life. I could have sold out. I could have taken the easy road. I could have gotten myself out of a ton of jams, taking weaker, lesser opportunities than I knew that I was worth. But I suffered through it, and I let myself be extremely broke and hurting and suffering until I could recapitalize on the big opportunities again. And the problem is if I was taking those small opportunities along the way, I'm burning all that fuel that I would have been able to throw on the huge fire that I need when it's coming. So I stay ready for the big stuff, and I let all the little shit and all the unimportant shit die. And
Let that shit die out.
that's actually a great fucking strategy, because then when you hit big, you're gonna hit really fucking big. Really fucking big. You know, and I'll tell you this, man, the hardest part about this type of lifestyle where you're a maniac and you're chaotic and you don't live with any safety nets, no strings attached, it's the people around you that you have to really fucking manage, because they're gonna think on paper sometimes you look dead. If I told you, man, how many times in my life on paper I looked so fucking dead, there's no way this motherfucker's coming back. On paper. Little do they know it was coming. And so
Be cooking.
managing the people that are doubting you and worried about your welfare and worried about your well-being and checking in with you and worried about your mental health, managing them and infusing them with the spirit and injecting them with the morale while you're hurting, while you're suffering, while you're in the pit, is extremely brutal and difficult. But it's worth it, because once you win, those people get very well endowed and taken care of. And that
Right,
will
because that's
happen.
the only way I
That
know
will
I'm on the
happen.
right
I
path.
mean, if you are this archetype, truly, you'll have days where nobody believes in you. Everyone thinks you're toast. Everyone thinks you can't pull this off. Everyone's worried because no one could believe that you would put yourself in a position like this. People are going to be like, dude, why don't you go for the safety? Like, why don't you have some little stream of income? It's like, no, motherfucker, you don't understand. I got to make 20 million this year. Like, I don't have time to be building a side arm or a side business because I need all my energy and attention focused on the big cake that I'm going after. And by the way, I know a ton of people who live like this, and it works out for them 10 out of 10 times if they hold on long enough and don't eject too early. Some don't, though. I mean, obviously, that's the dangerous game we play.
It's probably not even about playing the cards, right? It's just play the fucking
That's
cards.
it, man.
All right, cool shit, man. Appreciate the tip.